In today's video, we're going to be trying to break Orcish Bowmasters. The way that we're going to be doing this is by playing Call of the Death Dweller in a rocked list. If you have not seen this 3-mana sorcery, it says return up to 2 target creatures with total converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard, put a death touch counter on one of them and a menace on the other. This is so good with Bowmasters because Bowmasters does the damage itself, meaning that if you can give this a death touch counter, you are able to deal 1 damage to any creature, killing it automatically. And when looking at the rest of the list, it is just the Rock, which is my pet deck, and is playing powerful cards like Thoughtseize, Witherbloom Command, and Grist. So we're going to be taking this ridiculous combo Rock Brew and showing why this might break Modern. Match when we are on the play, and our starting hand looks a little weak, but definitely keep. We'll cast our Bauble before playing a land and look at their top, and it looks like we're up against Hammer here, so we'll play out our Swamp, holding up Fatal Push. Opponent plays out of Plains into Springleaf Drum, casting Ornithopter, and also has an Esper Sentinel. Pretty sweet start for them. Ooh, we find a Thoughtseize. I think we're actually going to cast that, touching out a Forest, and we'll pay for the Sentinel. And this is a pretty easy Pure Steel take. They play an Ink Moth and attacking for 1. And after combat, they play out a Giver. Oh, and they have a Stoneforge Mystic. Finding a Reality Chip. Interesting. Saga is a great draw. We'll play that into a Tarmogoyf. They fetch out a Hallowed Fountain into Reality Chip, and then play out another Sentinel. And we find a Witherbloom Command. Nice pickup. We will shock an Overgrown Tomb, and then cast a Fatal Push on their Giver runes. And we're only going to pay for 1 of the Sentinels, not both, so that we can hold up Beseiju to kill the Reality Chip. And they give their Sentinel pro-green, so no reason to attack. We'll just pass back. They do find a Saga, but good thing we have a Haywire Might main. Then they play out an Ornithopter, and then they go to equip the Reality Chip, so in response, we will Beseiju, killing it. We find another land. We will float a mana off our Saga, picking up a Haywire Might. We will sack that now, killing their Urza's Saga. Then we'll play out another Tarmogoyf into a fetch land, and we'll attack in for 6. Wow, and no blocks from them. Opponent animates an Inkmoth Nexus and attacks in. We top deck another Witherbloom. We'll attack in with both Goyfs, and they end up double chump blocking. So after combat, we will fetch out a Overgrown Tomb, shock it in, and cast out a Witherbloom. We will kill an Esper Sentinel and drain them for 2 life, and then pay for both Sentinels. They again animate their Ink Moth, attacking for 1, and nothing else from them. We find a land, we'll play it out, cast our Witherbloom Command, killing their Sentinel, and draining them for 2. And this should be lethal. And opponent scoops it up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out a Wayfinder, Torok, Bauble, Call, and Elvish Reclaimer for a Terra Sunder, 2 EE, a Haywire Might, and a Pithy Needle. Game 2, our hand looks quite strong. They go turn 1 Coast into a Giver. We find another Goyf. We will fetch Shock and kill their Giver now. They play out an Ink Moth into a Stoneforge, picking up a Hammer. We find a Bowmasters. We'll play out our Reclaimer into a Verdant, holding up Push. Opponent plays out an Esper Sentinel, and nothing else from them. And we find a Forest. We don't have to play our Beseiju. We'll flash in our Bowmasters now, killing their Sentinel. And we even get a 1/1. So we'll just continue holding up our Push. They cast out a Sigardizade, and no attacks from them. We find another land. We'll play out a Tarmogoyf, and then continue holding up Push. And on the end step, they flash in a Hammer, equipping it to their Stoneforge. They play out another Stoneforge, picking up a Cauldra. So on the end step, we will fetch out a land, and then activate our Elvish Reclaimer, picking up a Saga. We find a Blooming Marsh. We'll play that out, and we're gonna Beseiju the Sigardizade now, then pass back to the opponent. They play out another Sigardizade, and then attack them with their Stoneforge Mystic, which we will chump block with our army. Wow, and that ends up resolving. That's awesome for us. And on the end step, again, we will activate Reclaimer, sack in our Swamp, and get another Saga. And we top deck an Urborg. So with the first Saga, we will float a mana. And they didn't activate Stoneforge in response. We're going to go for a weird one and grab Pithy Needle, naming Stoneforge. Then we'll play out our Urborg, cast our Tarmogoyf, and then go to combat, attacking them with our Goyf. And they have another Hammer, which they equipped to their Stoneforge Mystic. So we will go for a Fatal Push on it. And that does end up resolving. Sweet. So we will die to another Hammer if they do have it. Oh, they animate an Eatmoth and attack, and no way they have third Hammer. Wow, they had their Hammer. All right, well, we'll scoop up and get on to game 3. Game 3, our hand's a little slow, but I definitely will keep. I'll lead on turn 1 Verdant. Opponent goes turn 1 Coast into a Giver. Ooh, a Haywire Might off the top. We'll play Saga, then play out a Tarmogoyf. They play out a Saga into a Sentinel, and then play out a Relic as well. Activating it, getting rid of our Verdant. Thoughtseize is a good one. We will play out our Swamp, then play out our Haywire Might, and activate it now, getting rid of their Saga. They play out an Inkmoth Nexus into a March, getting rid of our Saga, then play out a Hammer. Another Bowmasters for us. We'll play out our Peatland and go to combat with our Goyf. Oh, I misclicked. Yikes. Oh no, this is so bad. Oh my god, I'm actually so mad at myself. And they play out a Shadow Spear, which is fine. Then they attack with their Sentinel, so we will block with our Goyf. Oh, I forgot they had Relic. I'm just punting this game away. Well, we'll crack a Peatland and make them pop the Relic. And they do end up popping Relic. We find a land, we will fire off a Thoughtseize, and we will pay for it. And this is an easy Forge a New Take. Then we'll play out our land. They equip their Shadow Spear to their Sentinel and attack in for 2. And we top deck a Saga, big pickup. They play out a Strand and then attack in. We'll take the 2. And they play out a Sanctifier. And on the end step, we will flash in a Bowmasters, pinging their Giver, and then flash in another one, taking down their Giver. And we top deck another Witherbloom. And we're actually going to take this turn to cast Witherbloom, killing their Shadow Spear and their Sentinel. And we will pay for the tax. And they top deck a Sigardizade, then attack in for 2. We top deck up Beseiju. We'll float a mana off our Saga, and we'll pick up a Shadow Spear, cast out a Witherbloom command, milling us for 3 and killing their Cigar Zade, and we'll pick up a Saga, play it out, and equip our Spear to our 2/2, then attacking with the team. And they do find a Saga, then they animate Eatmoth and attacking for 3, and we find a Terra Sunder. We will cast it, getting rid of their Saga, then we'll play out our BREW and attacking with the team, and they do fire off a Path on our 3/3, and we'll make a Construct now. No attacks from the opponent. We find another land, we will make another Saga token, and this one can pick up a Haywire Might just to pretty much log up the game no matter what. Then we will cast our Traverse, and opponent scoops it up there. Let's freaking go. Let's get on to match 2. Match 2, we're on the draw, and hand's definitely risky, but I like risk. They go turn 1 Emiria into a Thraben. We get a 3rd Saga. All right, let's play our Urborg out into a Thoughtseize. What the actual heck? Well, this is definitely a Call to the Ring take. I'm already confused, but at least this won't be able to kill our constructs. They play an Urborg to match ours and attacking for 1. Let's go, a land. We'll play our Boseiju into a Gwyth. This means next turn we can go Saga into Grist. And on the end step, they flash in a Bowmasters, pinging us for 1. They attack in, and I will block. I'm not really sure what this is about. That ended up resolving, and they play out a Samwise the Stouthearted to get it back, and they get the ring. We'll play out our Saga into a Grist, and we will not attack. They cast another Bowmasters, taking down our Insect, and they send everything at Grist, so we'll block their Samwise, and Grist even stays alive. Interesting attacks. Ooh, Shadow Spear off the top. We'll play a Saga, take up our Grist, then pass back to the opponent, holding up Saga, and push. Oh my goodness, they have Shambling Vent? Yikes. And they attack our Grist for 1. We'll let this happen. And on the end step, we'll activate our Saga. We top deck another push. We'll make another Construct. And in response, they try to ephemerate their Bowmasters, so we will Fatal Push it. And we will pick up a Springleaf Drum, play out a 3rd Saga, tick up our Grist, cast a push on their 2/2, and then cast out a Shadow Spear, attacking in for 10. And they scoop it up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 4 Thoughtseize, a Haywire Might, and a Dryad Arbor for a Torok, Bajuka Bog, Nile Spellbomb, Soulguide Lantern, and 2 go for the throw. Game 2, our hand's a little slow, but we will keep. They go turn 1 Swamp into a Grief. They take our Blood Chasers and then cast a Rebirth on their Grief, taking our Witherbloom. Oh no, another land for us. We'll go Marsh into Drum. They play a Plains and attacking for 3. Then play a Charming Prince, flickering their Grief. Oh my gosh. We find a Shadow Spear. Hey, we definitely need a Saga off the top to have a chance. They attacking for 5. Ooh, Bowmasters. That's not a bad one. We'll play a Tap Tomb. They cast a Call of the Ring into a Tap Shrine. Hacking in with the team, and we're going to flash in a Bowmasters and try and trade off with the Charming Prince. And we'll block with the Orc Army. And they have a Malakar Rebirth. Ugh. And they end up scrying too. Another land for us, so we have to equip our Shadow Spear and attacking for 2, playing out our Verdant. And they do end up paying 2 to get a ring trigger, so we will shoot their Charming Prince for 1. They attacking for 3, then play out a Charming Prince, gaining 3 life. Oh my gosh, how many lands? We'll play out a Giganta, then play a Rock Farm, bouncing a Swamp to hand. And on the end step, they cast an Ephemerate. Yep, taking our Giganta. They rebound a Charming Prince, scrying 2, and they decide to not draw off of their Call of the Ring. But they do have to loot here, so it means we get a Bowmaster's trigger. We'll shoot them for 1, and we're not going to block here. Come on, spell. Let's go! Finally, we'll equip our army with our Shadow Spear and pass the opponent. And on the end step, they flash in a Samwise, and they attack in with everything. And they do have to trigger this, drawing a card, triggering the Orcish Bowmasters. So we will ping down their Samwise, and then we'll go to block a Charming Prince with our 4/4, and they go for an Ephemerate on the Prince. So in response, we do have to go for the Throat Their Grief. If we find a spell that's any good, I think we win this game. Come on. Oh my goodness, that's a good one. Let's freaking go. Let's attack with artwork. Then we will play out our big lady and equip the Shadow Spear. And I don't think there's any reason to hold the Verdant, so. And then upkeep, they do rebound the Ephemerate, scrying another 2, and they keep 1 on top. And they do pay 2 life to draw a card, so we will shoot them for 1. They attack in for 2, triggering the ring, and we get to shoot them again. And we will block. I think we have to, or else we would die. And then they cast an EE for 0, and we find another Bowmasters, so we have to attack him with our Tarmogoyf, and we might as well attack him with the Work. And they pop the EE, and they go for a Charming Prince block, and I'm going to cast the Bowmasters, dealing 1 damage to the Charming Prince. Oh wait, it doesn't really matter. Well, anyways, they end up conceding. Let's get on to game 3. Match 3, we are on the draw, and our starting hand looks quite strong. Opponent goes turn 1 Tomb into a Thoughtseize. Maybe this is the mirror. And they take our Bowmasters. We top deck a Witherbloom. We'll go turn 1 Marsh into a Thoughtseize. And we are up against Jund here, so we'll take the Bowmasters. We top deck a Reclaimer. We'll fire off another Thoughtseize. And we will take the Fatal Push. Then play out our Saga, playing out a Shadow Spear. And they top deck a Saga, unfortunate, and pick up a Giganta. And another discard spell for us. And I guess we'll fire it off, taking out their Giganta. Saga. They play out a Mire, we find a land, we'll float a mana off Saga, picking up a Haywire Might, and then we are going to use our Might, killing their Saga. And then we'll play out our Verdant, fetch out a Forest, and play out our Tarmogoyf. And they fire off a Terminate, killing our Goyf, and poke in for 1. We find a push, we'll fire off our Witherbloom, killing their Construct and picking up a Saga, and then play our Saga out for turn. And they find a Goyf. I had a Swamp, so we know their last card in hand is a Mountain. And we find another Saga. Let's go. We'll fire off a push now, killing the Goyf. And they top deck a Spell Bomb, using it right away, drawing a card. And then they scoop it up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 4 Thoughtseize, a Dryad Arbor, and a Call of the Death Dweller for Bajuka Bog, Haywire Might, and now Spell Bomb, 2 Gopher Throat, and a Terra Sunder. Game 2, our hand does lose to a Rin really easily, but other than that, I think I have to keep. They go turn 1 Stomping Ground into a Spell Bomb, and another land off the top, not a great one. And they go Saga into a Goyf. We'll fire off our push. Ooh, and we do find a Witherbloom. We'll play out our Swamp and slam our Goyf. They shock in a Blood Crypt, passing back. Find another land. We'll attack in for 3, and then play out our Mire. And they do activate Saga, so in the end step still, we will Besage You there as a Saga. They play out a Swamp into a Goyf, and they attack in for 2. And another land for us, not great. So we'll shock in our Tomb and kick out a Torok, and they get rid of a Terminate and a Shadow Spear. And they don't even kill the Torok in response to the Spell Bomb. I'm not sure what happened here. They play out a Woodfoot Hills, picking up Giganta. Ooh, we find a Saga. I'm going to go to combat and attack in with our Goyf, and they block with their Goyf. And then we'll play out our Saga. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I didn't realize there wasn't a sorcery in the yard. That's okay. Well, we kind of threw, but whatever. So we will mill ourselves for 3 and give their construct -3/-1 at least. So if they do pop the Spell Bomb, this dies. And in response, they do pop their Spell Bomb. And we will pick up another Saga, then buy our Giganta. They use a Besage You from hand, killing our Saga, and then Unholy Heat our Torok. And they attack in for 6. Come on, good spells. And we find a Peat land. We'll play out our Saga, and then play out our Giganta. And they play out their Giganta, and attack in for 6. We will not block. We find a Terra Sunder that does answer their Goyf. So we will play out our Verdant, fetch up a Forest, and cast our Terra Sunder now. Then pass back, holding up Saga. And they dash out a Ragavan, and attacking with both. We're going to have to activate Saga and hope they don't have a way to kill us. Oh, but it looks like they have a removal spell. Yep, and they do have a Fatal Push. So opponent's barely going to kill us. I definitely punted away this game. Let's get on to game 3. Wow, our hand looks great. We'll go turn 1 Verdant, fetch shock, into a Reclaimer. They go turn 1 Crypt, into an Inquisition, taking our Grist, and we find a Drum. So we're going to play out our Saga, play out our Drum, and then play out our Goyf. They play out a Saga, we'll play our Swamp, and then attack in with a team. And they do have a Bowmasters, shooting our Reclaimer, and they do make a double block here, meaning that Reclaimer will fall no matter what. So we'll just kill their Bowmasters and continue to hold up our push. They play out a Swamp, and on the end step, we'll fire our Saga off. We top deck a Terra Sunder, so we'll activate Saga again, and we're going to pick up a Haywire Might, then play out our Urborg, and attack in with the team. And they do end up blocking our Goyf, and we'll pass back. And on the end step, they do activate Saga. So still in the end step, we're going to fire off our Terra Sunder, taking out their Saga. In their main phase, they fire off a Bowmasters, killing our Haywire Might, and then they have another Saga, and we find another land. So we'll attack in with the team, and they make some chump blocks, but we get in for 3. We'll play our land out and buy our Giganta. They play out a Forest into a Ragavan. We find a land, we'll attack in with the team, and they end up making a Construct before blocks, and we're going to fire off a Fatal Push on their Construct, and they do have the double chump, and then we'll play out a Marsh. And their first main before Saga leaves, they make another Construct, and they pick up a Haywire Might. Then they play out a Ragavan. I guess they have the triple chump again. Find another land. So let's attack in with the team. Yep, and they lose their entire board, and they scoop it up there, seeing the writing on the wall. So let's get on to match number 4. Match 4, we're on the draw, and our hand's just too weak, so we got them all. Ooh, this one looks pretty spicy. We'll 100% keep and put back a Traverse. Turn 1 Otawara could mean a million things, so let's shock in our Tomb and cast a Thoughtseize. Oh god. So this must be Rhinos. So I think the best card in hand for sure is the Fire Ice, although I don't feel great about taking that rather than a Cascade spell, but I think I have to, sadly. They play out a Besage You, and we'll run out our Saga, playing out our Wayfinder, and no land for them off the top. Let's freaking go. We find a Blooming Marsh. We will attack him with our Wayfinder. Come on, land on top. We see a Call of the Death Dweller on top, and that's definitely not going to be good enough here. So we'll play out our Marsh and hold up Saga activations. Oh, bless up. No land again for the opponent. Let's freaking go. And Wayfinder plus Saga. This is the dream. Yep, we'll make another Saga token. We will pick up a Springleaf Drum, play out our Peat land, attack in with the team, and Fatal Push is was a good one. We'll keep that on top. And then we will use the Wayfinder ability to get back a Saga. And then we might as well fire off a Thoughtseize now. And they let that resolve. So let's take a Shardless. And opponent scoops it up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to bring in 2 EE and 2 Torok for a Wayfinder, Grist, Blood Juice Thirst, and a Haywire Might. Game 2, our hand looks perfect. Opponent goes turn 1, Suspend a Crashing Footfalls. Goyf off the top. What a beautiful draw. We'll go turn 1 Thoughtseize. They definitely were considering firing off this Force Negation, but we'll Shardless Agent, seeing a hand that's pretty mediocre here. They play out of Foothills. We find a Witherbloom. We'll play out our Urborg, and we're going to cast out our Tarmogoyf now. And on our end step, they cycle their Lorn Revealed, picking up a basic island. Oh god, please don't Blood Moon me. They play an island, passing back. We top deck Reclaimer. We'll fire off our Thoughtseize. And yeah, I think we're going to take their draw too. I can play around Force Negation for a while. Then we'll play out our Beseiju and attack in with our Tarmogoyf. Ooh, and we did bait out the Fire Ice here. And then we'll play out our Reclaimer. They play out a Misty. We top deck another Bowmasters. We'll attack with our Goyf. Then we will activate our Reclaimer, sacking our Beseiju, picking up a Rot Farm, picking up our Urborg, play that out, and now we can hold up a Bowmasters. Oh my god. They fetch out a land and then play a Lorn Revealed, and oh baby, we have a nice Bowmasters in response. And we're going to ping down one of the Rhinos, and then they draw 3 cards, which means we get 3 more triggers, which means we do get to kill this Rhino, which is awesome. We find a fetch land. We will fire off a Witherbloom command here, draining them for 2 and milling us for 3. And we do find a Saga, which I think we have to take. We'll play that out, and then we're going to attack in with everything. And they trade off Rhino for our Orc Army, and we'll run out of EE for 0 now. Opponent plays out a Murktide here. Then they float mana off of Beseiju, playing another and casting a Force of Vigor, killing our 2 artifact. And it looks like we're just going to have lethal here. I'm not sure what they could have, so we'll flash into Bowmasters on the end step. And they scoop it up. Let's get on to match number 5. Let's see if we can get that 5-0. Match 5, we are on the play, and our starting hand looks great. We'll go turn 1 Fetch Shock and play out a Reclaimer. Opponent goes turn 1 Forest into a Suspended Footfalls. We top deck a Shadow Spear and play out a Forest. They play out a Misty, and on the end step, we'll find Inner's Saga with our Reclaimer. And in our upkeep, they go for a Fire Ice, tapping out our Saga, so in response, we'll flash in a Bowmasters. And we find another Bowmasters off the top. We'll play out our Swamp, and then play out a Shadow Spear, then attack in for 3. They play out a Gemstone Caverns, we top deck a Springleaf Drum. We'll float a mana off Urza Saga, in response, they Vine Outburst. And we'll pick up a Haywire Might off of our Saga, play out our Springleaf Drum, then cast a push on one of the Rhinos, and then cast a Witherbloom command, giving the Rhino -3/-1 and picking up a Saga. We'll play out the Saga for turn and then attack in for 3. They play out a Misty and attack in for 4, then evoke out a Fury, killing our Reclaimer. We find a Peatland. We'll attack in for 2, playing it a little safe here because we don't want to die to another Cascade effect. In the upkeep, they cast another Footfalls. They attack in for 4, we'll take it, and on the end step, we will make a Construct, then flash in our Bowmasters. We top deck a Torok. Instead of making a Construct, we're just going to float a mana so we can kick it out, and that just slam resolves. Interesting. And I'm concerned about any removal spell, so we're not going to attack with the Construct just yet. They go straight to combat, attacking everything at us. So we'll block with our Construct, block with Torok, and double block the Rhino. Oh, and they have a Violent Outburst. That's insane. Getting 2 more Rhinos and pumping their team. So on the end step, we'll pop our bottle, Scene of Dispute, and we find a Tarmogoyf and a Witherbloom command, so we're going to slam our Goyf onto the battlefield and then equip Shadow Spear to it. And opponent untaps, scooping up, so let's get on to sideboarding. For sideboarding, we're going to take out 3 Witherbloom commands, Haywire, Might, Grist, and a Wayfinder for 2 Go for the Throat, 2 Torok, and 2 EE. Game 2, our hand's definitely risky, but we'll keep it. Opponent goes turn 1 Forest into Suspended Rhino. We top deck a push, we'll go turn 1 Reclaimer. They fetch Shock into Steam Vents and then kill our Reclaimer. We find a Saga and go turn 2 Goyf. They fetch on Island, play a Shardless. Thankfully, that was not a Blood Moon. We do find a Tomb off the top. We'll shock that in, play out our Tarmogoyf, and hold a push. They cast another Shardless. So on the end step, we'll fire off a push. We top deck a Bowmasters. We'll grab a Springleaf Drum off of our Saga and pass back. And in their upkeep, they cast another thing of Rhinos. They play out a land into the 4th thing of Rhinos. Oh my gosh. And on the end step, we will cast Go for the Throat. Oh my god. We top deck the freaking Dream. Let's cast out the CE. Oh, come on. They had a Force. Whatever. Ugh. I think we're just going to be dead here. And looks like they're attacking in with everything. So we'll have to flash in our Bowmasters. And these are our blocks, trading off a decent amount. And we do find a land, so we'll cast our Call of the Death Dweller, getting back 2 creatures, and of note, finally doing the Bowmaster thing, killing a Rhino. But even after all of this, if they just attack in with everything, we are dead on board. Yep, and they do see the line, so we're gonna have to get on to game 3. Game 3, our starting hand looks quite strong. We'll go turn 1 Marsh into a Thoughtseize. And this is a pretty easy Violent Outburst take. They top deck a Triome and play it out. Oh, another Bowmasters for us. Let's play out our Saga and hold up Bowmasters. They shock in the Stomping Ground, passing to us. So instep will flash into Bowmasters, pinging them for 1. Another Bowmasters for us. And in our draw step, they do take out our Saga, so we'll float a mana, pick up a Swamp, and play out another Bowmasters, shooting them for 1 again. Then we'll fire off a Thoughtseize. And this is a pretty easy shardless take. Playing out our Boseiju and attacking in for 3. They shock in a Breeding Pool, passing back. We'll play out our Blooming Marsh. And don't think there's any reason to attack. Yep, and on the instep, they do flash an Endurance, putting back their yard. Interesting. So we'll fire off a Go for the Throat now. And it resolves. They play a Mountain. We draw a Tomb. We'll attack in for 2. We're definitely being a little safe, but I think it's worth. Then we'll shock in our Tomb, pick up Gigantha, and hold up our Bowmasters. And they do have a Fire Ice taking out our Bowmasters. Come on, please cast this Lauren Revealed. Please. Bless. Yes. Oh, baby. I think we're going to get the 5-0 here. Yes, let's freaking go. Put in a Bowmasters, shoot the opponent, they draw 3, shoot them 3 more times, and they scoop it up. Yes! Let's freaking go. Rock back on the 5-0 map with a crazy brew. Oh, let's go. Yeah, I don't even know what to say overall. The deck played super duper well. I really enjoyed the sideboard. I think the only thing I would change for this deck is maybe get rid of the chokes. I think the Call of the Death Dweller is a really good 3-drop that can get you some good card advantage in addition to Urza Saga already being a great effect. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the 5-0, and I'll see you guys in the next video.